Did you hear the news from San Diego Comic-Con? Marvel apparently announced that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU, but as Doctor Doom, and the storyline they're relooking at is either * infamous Iron Man * or this one right here. This is a classic alternate reality tale from Marvel's What If line, and it kicks off with Tony Stark arriving at college. But here's the twist. Instead of Reed Richards, his roommate is none other than Victor Von Doom. You can already see where this is going, can't you? What makes this so cool is that it perfectly contrasts the two characters. We get the Tony Stark we all know and loved, carefree playboy, who doesn't take much seriously. And on the other side of the room, you have Dr. Doom, who is laser-focused and intense. The moment they meet, Doom lays down the law. As a transfer student, you might not be aware the semester has already begun. Your presence in this room will be tolerated only if your priorities are in order. Is that understood? Of course, Tony's reaction is pure Stark. He's just like, "That's cool, man. But my girl here has a friend. You looking to have some fun? Or are you just going to sit there and be a grump?" But in the days that follow, Tony starts to show off just how brilliant he is. It's a running gag in the comics. No matter who Doom rooms with in college, whether it's Reed Richards or Tony Stark, he always ends up coming in second place. Academically, while Tony is blasting music and living it up, he casually points out Doom just needs to chill out. He tells him, "Let your back brain do the work." Doom isn't having it. "What would you know about work? You were born into privilege while I've had to fight for every grant, every scholarship. The burden I shoulder would break a lesser man, but my destiny is to lead, and that inevitability is worth any sacrifice." This confirms that Doom's backstory is pretty much identical to the main Marvel universe. It reinforces that core concept. In every reality, Dr. Doom is driven to seize absolute power. But Tony, being Tony, plays his own game. He looks over Doom's work and says, "Maybe, but keeping your focus so tight can lead to mistakes. Like the proton coefficient in your formula there. It should be cubed, not squared." Doom is visibly annoyed at being shown up, but this irritation slowly turns into a grudging respect. He starts to see Tony as an intellectual equal, and for those new, to Dr. Doom. This is key. Yes, he's arrogant and over the top, but more than anything else, Doom respects intelligence. So one night, he leads Tony down to a seedy basement. "I'm afraid I have a confession to make," he says. "The late nights I've spent in the library ... That was a lie. I've actually been here." Stark is confused. "The storage annex? There's nothing down here but rats and old books." Doom's response is perfect. "Exactly. My scholarship may not be renewed. To save my education, I've been forced to take extreme measures." He admits he has borrowed equipment from other labs and even faked vouchers to get what he needs. This is the essence of Dr. Doom. He will do whatever it takes to win, no matter how petty. Stark warns him, "You're going to be expelled, man." But Doom is confident. "Not if I succeed." He unveils his machine, claiming it will unlock telekinetic abilities. Imagine what that would mean to quadriplegics, the infirm, to say nothing of the university's publicity office. He's smart. He knows you can get away with almost anything at a university if it makes them look good in the end. Believe me, I used to work at one. It's amazing what they'll sweep under the rug. Then he asks for Tony's help. At first, Stark refuses. "Dude, you've been a jerk to me since day one. You respect me, but barely, and now you want me to risk my future for your crazy experiment." But then Doom says something that hits Tony's core. It was difficult enough to ask, "Tony, please, do not make me beg." And that's Tony Stark. He might be flawed, but he's honorable. He can't let someone beg him for help. "I never ask you to beg," he replies. "That's not who I am." So, they get to work. 4 days, the two brilliant minds focus on the task. It's Doom's project, and Tony is mostly following instructions, but his genius is still on display. At one point, Doom tells him to ignore a specific device, calling it a reciprocal power boost and saying he'll explain after the patent clears. Stark just smirks. "Wow. Brilliant and paranoid. You're some piece of work," Finally, the project is finished. Tony sits down to be the test subject. I mean, why not? If you had a chance to gain telekinesis with supposedly no downside, you'd take it, right? Worst case, nothing happens. But as the machine wears to life, restraints suddenly lock Tony in place. What's going on? He yells. Doom's tone shifts. I'm almost sorry. You've been a satisfactory assistant, but this seemed the only way to secure the resources I require. Resources you take for granted. And then comes the devastating truth. Remember that circuit you questioned? It will redirect mental energy from your cerebral cortex into mine. Telekinesis was a ruse. A carrot to dangle before your naive ambition. With one touch of a button, our minds will switch bodies, and everything you have will be mine. This is the big difference between this story and Asterisk. Infamous Iron Man Asterisk. There, Doom just took up the mantle. Here, he literally steals Tony's life. The process goes off without a hitch. Security guards burst in, and Victor Von Doom, now in Tony Stark's body, points to his old body and spins a tale. It was some crazy experiment. He forced me to be a part of it. Of course, they believe their rich kid, the real Tony Stark, trapped in Doom's body, is unconscious and his memory is wiped clean. From here on out, I'll just use their original names. But remember, they've swapped places. The Watcher's narration sets the stage for what comes next. The man who was once Tony Stark is exiled to Latveria in disgrace, with no money, no memory, and no hope. Meanwhile, an ocean away, Victor Von Doom revels in his new body, his new life, and all the doors. It opens a position of honor, opportunity, and unimaginable power. This is the perfect scenario for Doom. He can operate behind the scenes with Stark's resources and nobody is the wiser. For those unfamiliar, what makes Dr. Doom so formidable is his perfect fusion of technology and magic. And now, he has Stark Industries at his fingertips. As the weeks pass, one life spirals downward into confusion and despair. This is why the story is titled What If? A Demon in an Armor, a play on the famous Demon in a Bottle storyline. The man we know as Tony is broken, while the other are new. Secret Doctor, Doom builds a new empire. It's a dark, twisted, and absolutely brilliant premise. This story is a fantastic deep dive into what truly defines these two characters. For those of you who only know Tony Stark from the movies, you might think you have him pegged, but let me tell you, you're not far off. The absolute worst thing you can do to Tony Stark is back him into a corner, because when you do that, he makes you his project. And that's exactly what's happening here. Even though he's trapped in the body of Victor Von Doom, Tony still has his brilliant mind. But now, he also has a purpose, and that's what makes him truly dangerous. He rises to finally confront his demons, and the one word they hear is no. A word that increasingly annoys his father, who can't understand why his son has become so distant, so obsessed with control. Then, after a tragic and mysterious industrial accident, the word no is heard no more. Months turn into years. Menial jobs pay for squalid apartments, while tireless study earns him respect and coveted scholarships. The man with no memory, the man fate tried to dismiss, becomes Dr. Victor Von Doom. He earns his first PhD, then another, and another. Ideas flow like quicksilver from his brilliant, wounded mind. He pioneers medical advances, enhanced safety gear, and fuel-efficient engines. The patents make him a wealthy man, and he funnels that wealth back into his new home, Latveria, making it free and strong. Tony Stark, living as Victor Von Doom, becomes a philanthropist, using his genius to make the world a better place. Meanwhile, the man who stole his life, the real Victor Von Doom living as Tony Stark, takes a very different path. He molds his life through intimidation, extortion, and less subtle means. He's ruthless and relentless, burning bridges everywhere he goes. This, Tony Stark, hears about the great work being done in Latveria by Victor Von Doom, and he realizes something alarming. All this philanthropy is chipping away at Stark Universal's profits, and it's been happening for years. The final straw is the development of the arc reactor in Latveria. Infinite, Clean energy for everyone. It would revolutionize the world but destroy every energy company out there, including the Stark Empire. Doom knows he has to act. He has spies in Latveria, but they can't get their hands on the plans. So, he makes a decision. He'll take his new battle suit, a weaponized version of the Iron Man armor, fly to Latveria, and personally obliterate the arc reactor. Of course, Tony has his own sources. He learns that an attack is coming, but he doesn't know the details. We see him showcasing his own creation. A rescue suit. It's designed in the traditional Latverian style, but its composite elements are cut. As he's explaining this, someone rushes in screaming, "We're under attack." They're hitting the arc reactor. Tony activates his suit and flies into the fray. He notes that his suit wasn't designed for offense. It's purely defensive, but it has everything he needs to protect himself. He comes face to face with the imposter in the Iron Man armor. Doom is gloating. "There's a lot you don't expect," he says. "Just before blowing the entire arc reactor facility to pieces, I've downloaded the key technology. Much more practical than trying to dig it out of rubble. You can always rebuild, but by then, the Stark version will have cornered the market." This was almost too easy. For a moment, it looks like Tony is defeated, ready to just give up. But then, he finds that iron will inside him. He fires, but Doom's battlesuit, his elite, deflects the blast and retaliates with a barrage of rockets. It's a full-on assault. Doom mocks him. "You should have let me leave. Your protective shell is formidable, but it's wearing down. All I need is one single hole." But Tony was just buying time. "All I needed was to lure you close enough to do this," he says, firing an energy blast that sends Doom flying. As the battle rages, Tony notices something. Doom's armor reacts with lightning speed, almost as if it's connected to his thoughts. That's it. The suit taps directly into the user's brain. All Tony has to do is duplicate the frequency and override his mental commands. And that's exactly what he does. He triggers the rockets on Doom's back, blowing the suit to pieces. "If you let me live," he gasps, "I will give you your life back." Tony is confused. He doesn't remember anything before the accident. He thinks he's always been Victor Von Doom. That experiment in college, Doom explains, the one that cost you your memory. It wasn't your doing. It was mine. The machine I tricked you into using switched our minds, but it can be corrected. Grant me asylum, and I'll testify to the truth. You can have everything back. Stark Universal, your family legacy, your name. And Tony's response is just incredible. "Why would I want that name?" he asks. "The world believes you are Tony Stark, and in this world, that name is synonymous with greed, cruelty, and a lust for power. I don't want it. The name Victor Von Doom stands for peace, compassion, and caring. No, I'll keep this name, and you can spend the rest of your life in prison." What an amazing twist. The hero embraces the villain's name because he made it a symbol of good, while the villain tarnished the hero's name beyond recognition. It's a story where the good guy wins by becoming, in name only, the bad guy. I hope you enjoyed this dive into one of Marvel's most fascinating what-if stories. If you did, do me a favor and hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed for more deep dives into the comic book multiverse. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.